political and economic disadvantage.
That could most likely have an impact on surgeries.
Today on Ignite News, Mohawk staff and students are preparing their mows for Movember.
The rules for Movember is you got to be perfectly clean shaven on November 1st, so what better way to do it than a clean shave?
The annual Road to Hope Marathon kicked off for its 6th year.
We had over 700 more participants this year than last year.
And the Mohawk men's basketball team received their championship rings.
Yeah, it's just a special finishing touch for what was really a great season.
The sun is finally shining after cloudy days, but how long will it last? I've got your full forecast coming up in your weather update.
An upset and a near miss in the Champions League, and the Bulldogs play a snoozer. Stick with me, Mohawk. I've got all that and more coming up in your sports update.
The Hamilton Music Awards kicked off yesterday with a special conference in the McIntyre Theater, and Google is celebrating someone's 165th birthday today. All that and more coming up in your entertainment.
All this and more coming up on Ignite News.
Hello and welcome to your Ignite News for November 8th. I'm Greg Rosser.
And I'm Courtney MacDonald. Here's what's making news. Hamilton has voted for a period of poverty relief. City councilors have come up with a compromise to help ease millions of dollars in provincial cuts to anti-poverty programs. On Wednesday, councilors voted to pay $3.3 million for 2 support programs for Hamiltonians in need during the first 6 months of 2013. They voted to cover those programs for the first half of the year from reserves instead of raising property taxes.
McMaster librarians have discovered what they believe to be poppies from Flanders Fields. The poppies were found inside a travel diary written by a Canadian soldier's wife. The library staff are making efforts to place the poppies in a capsule. The public is welcome to stop by the library on weekdays to view the 78-year-old flowers.
Tough pot sentences have taken force across Canada beginning Tuesday as 2 U.S. states approve the legalization of marijuana. Canada's new laws provide a mandatory 6-month jail term for growing as few as 6 marijuana plants, twice the mandatory minimum for child pornography. The Justice Minister, Rob Nicholson, said the message is clear that if you are in the business of the producing, importing, or exporting of drugs, you will now face jail time.
New York has been in the dark since Wednesday. The U.S. Northeast was blasted with snow and hurricane-like winds, bringing down power lines after people just got their lights back from Hurricane Sandy. The power was knocked out for more than 77,000 New York City customers. The city received several inches of heavy, wet snow Wednesday and Thursday. Some areas reported more than 6 inches.
The Road to Hope Marathon took place this weekend at Confederation Park, welcoming more participants than ever before. Ignite News reporter Stephanie Sly has this story.
The annual Road to Hope Marathon celebrated its 6th year. More runners than ever before crossed the finish line at the 2-day marathon. The media coordinator Susan Lamont explained why.
We had over 700 more participants this year than last year. With the New York Marathon being canceled, we're having people from New York calling because they've trained for a marathon, and so we're having one, so they're trying to get in, and we've only got 250 spots, so accommodating even extra runners that are unexpected.
The marathon included group stretches and warm-ups in addition to fun exercises for the entire family to participate in. The marathon supports Join Hope of Haiti and City Kids.
The cause is for 2 main charities. One is Join Hope of Haiti, and they build schools in Haiti for the children, and the other is for City Kids, which I'm part of, and that's for the inner city children in Hamilton.
It was a bright and sunny day for runners at the Road to Hope Marathon this weekend at Confederation Park. The money raised went to City Kids and Help for Haiti. For Ignite News, I'm Stephanie Sly.
Homicide investigation. The July shooting killed 14-year-old Cheyenne Charles and 23-year-old Joshua Yasay and injured almost 24 others at a community barbecue on Danzig Street. The shooting spread concern about public safety in Toronto and an increased police presence in the neighborhood. Police blame the shootout on gang violence.
Investigators are looking into a Toronto boat fire after a yacht was destroyed early this morning. The boat was stored on land at the Toronto Humber Yacht Club on Humber Valley Road by Park Lawn and Barry Road. The fire started at around 5 o'clock this morning. At least one other boat was damaged.
The MSA is doing their part this month for some mustache growing fun. Ignite News reporter Brian Naylor has more.
Be a champion, not a quitter, and keep growing your mustache to help beat prostate cancer.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. It's Christmas time for people who love mustaches. Movember is back again this year, and Mohawk College staff and students on campus are banding together to grow mustaches to help change the face of men's health. Movember is an annual month-long event that involves the growing of mustaches during the month of November, where men and women around the world raise money towards the fight against prostate cancer. This year, the Mohawk Students Association are hosting a number of Movember-related events throughout the month, including offering students a fresh shave to start off the month in preparation to grow their mo. MSA President Andy Hall expressed how good it felt to be clean-shaven, especially for a great cause.
Well, for one thing, it feels fantastic. They get a nice clean shave. These guys definitely know what they're doing. It feels fantastic, and the rules for Movember is you got to be perfectly clean shaven on November 1st. So what better way to do it than a clean shave?
The MSA has a lot of things in store for students taking part in Movember, but MSA Vice President of Marketing and Communications, Ashley Coles, is keeping a tight seal on what's really being planned.
So the biggest one we have is the Stash Bash, which is at the end of the month. It's the pub night that'll happen on the Wednesday. We're going to have a bunch of stuff happening at that pub that we're not releasing yet. Probably have some ceremonial mustache shaves and stuff like that.
The MSA has provided the college with a Movending machine where students can donate to the cause and receive some Movember memorabilia. There is no set goal for what the entire school wants to raise, but to keep students motivated, there are a number of prizes for top contributors.
The guy who raises the most amount of money for the MSA team will win a 40-inch TV and a PS3. And the gal who raises the most amount of money for the MSA team will win a $750 shopping spree for Mapleview Mall.
One of the main focuses for the month of events was getting girls involved this time around for Movember.
I mean, I can't grow a mustache, but that's one of the things that we're focusing on. Any guys even who can't grow one, we're basically trying to tell people that it doesn't matter if you can't grow a mustache, we still want to come together and raise a bunch of money for Movember.
Reporting for Ignite News, I'm Brian Naylor.
Here's a look back at today's top stories. The city voted for temporary poverty relief. Librarians at McMaster University have discovered poppies from Flanders Fields. And another severe storm has hit New York.
Let's head over to Julianne for your weather update.
Thanks, Gregory. The sun is finally shining after a few cloudy days. In London, it's -2 degrees with sun. Windsor is also feeling the sunshine. In the Golden Horseshoe, Toronto is sitting at -1 with sun. Niagara Falls is at -4, sunny with clouds. And outside our studios here in the Hammer, it's sitting at -2 degrees, seeing the same conditions. Taking a look at the next 24 hours in Hamilton this evening in the Hammer, the temperature will stay around 2 degrees with clouds rolling in overnight. Will remain cloudy with a temperature of -1 degree. Heading into tomorrow morning, the temperature will rise to about 2 degrees with many clouds. Look at the next 5 days in the expect temperatures with sun and cloud, a high of 10 and a low of -1. Rain is expected on Saturday and a high of 11 and a low of 4. The clouds will continue to stick around that day. Sunday is expected to clear up, but some clouds will stick around. Temperatures will remain a high of 15 and drop down to a low of 8. Monday will be about the same with warmer temperatures of 16 degrees and a low of 10. The rain will return on Tuesday with a high of 5 and a low of -1. That's all for me with weather. Let's check in with Amber to see what's happening in entertainment.
Thanks, Julianne. Crowbar, Monster Truck, Tommy Swick, The Rest, and Weekend Riot Club will be among the acts performing at Hamilton Music Awards this year. The lineup for the 9th annual DeFasco HMAs was announced yesterday at a news conference here in Mohawk College, which featured a performance by Swick and his accompanying guitarist Joel Gunther. Events announced included a 2-day festival on November 16th and 17th, and the Rising Stars Search on November 17th also in the McIntyre Theater. Tickets for the awards show are $35.50, and you can purchase them at Dr. Disc, Picks and Sticks, and Ticketmaster. The awards show will broadcast live on CHCH TV on December 15th at 8 p.m. and will be co-hosted by Alan Cross and comedian Shelley Marshall. And what do Aston Martinis and Walter PPK have in common? Well, 007 could probably help you out with that. The new James Bond flick, Skyfall, hits theaters tomorrow, but last night, audience got a sneak peek at the 23rd film in the series. This James Bond star, Daniel Craig's third Bond film, where a huge twist definitely has fans crying over their popcorn. Fans found Bond drinking only one martini, shaken, not stirred, throughout the film, and more often than not, Bond wasn't wearing his suit. Skyfall came out in Europe last week and is due to come out tomorrow in North America. And I've got all your scoop with the events happening around Mohawk and Hamilton, so let's take a look. I'm Amber Warren. Now let's take a look at what's coming up in today's community calendar. If you have a case of the giggles, Thursday, November 8th at Hamilton Place, the Capital One Just for Laughs comedy tour is back. Comedians such as Deborah DiGiovanni and John Heffron will be performing, and the doors open at 7:30 p.m. So be prepared for a lot of laughs and giggles. And on a serious note, Friday, November 9th, the annual Remembrance Day service will be held in the McIntyre Theater starting at 10:45 a.m. going until 11:30 a.m. And you better hope for some snow this weekend, because the annual Santa Claus Parade is about to kick off Saturday, November 10th in downtown Hamilton. The parade starts at 2 p.m., so bring your coat and some reindeer bells. And today, Google is honoring an Irish novelist, Bram Stoker's 165th birthday. The online illustration features characters from Bram Stoker's Dracula and links to his novels available on Google Books. Stoker was born in Dublin in 1847 at Trinity College and worked as a civil servant in Dublin Castle. Throughout his career, he wrote 12 novels, 3 short story collections, and 4 nonfiction books. He died on April 20th, 1912, following a series of strokes. And that's all I've got for your entertainment. Let's head over to Joanna with your sports update.
Thanks, Amber. For the second night in a row, negotiators from the league and the NHL Players Association were up late for collective bargaining talks. Despite heavy snowfall in New York, the two sides have spent almost 12 hours in meetings this week. While no one wanted to comment specifically on what went down, it seems both sides are trying to save as much of the season as they can. As the lockout stretches into day 53, major sponsors like Molson Coors will likely be seeking compensation for revenue lost. The league took in a record $3.3 billion US in revenue last year. And the Bulldogs just couldn't get control last night. After a scoreless first period, the Dogs went on to lose 3-0 to the Syracuse Crunch. Syracuse outshot Hamilton 24-13 in 2 periods, with hometown boys firing off less than 30 shots overall for the first time this season. With 3 power plays in the final period, the Dogs looked like they might have a shot, but in the end, they just couldn't make anything of it. Hamilton's head coach noted that the Crunch are made up of 14 players from last year's Calder Cup champions, the Norfolk Admirals, who won 28 straight games last season. And Mohawk's men's basketball team made history by catching their first ever national championship earlier in the year. Prior to their season tip-off, the team reunited to put the finishing touches on their championship celebrations. Ignite News reporter Diego Flamini has more.
It's been a long time coming, but it is the first national championship for the Mohawk College Mountaineers.
This was the scene in March when Mohawk's men's basketball team captured their first ever national championship. 8 months later, the team reunited to receive their championship rings in front of a jubilant crowd. Coach Brian Jonker says it's the final piece of the championship puzzle.
Yeah, it's definitely a culmination of the entire year's work comes to an end tonight. It's really nice to see, again, some of the guys who aren't with us this year back tonight for this night. So it's Yeah, it's just a special finishing touch for what was really a great season.
Jonker hopes the ceremony acts as motivation for the new players.
I'm hoping that it acts as a little bit of motivator to say, hey, I wouldn't mind having one of these for myself next year.
Rookie Braden Lenter says it's a learning experience.
The older guys are able to pass down their knowledge to us, so it's actually a good thing for us.
Returning player and championship tournament MVP Andrew Cicatini says receiving the rings is nice, but there's not much time to celebrate.
Everybody in this league is giving us their best game now because we're the team to beat. We're number one. But everybody in the locker room, we all have the mindset. It's a brand new team. We have to still prove ourselves once again.
Captain of the championship team, Aminu Bello says when he looks at his championship ring, it reminds him of all the effort that went into earning it.
Just all the hard work that went into it. Practices, games, those, putting in all the effort, managing with school, just winning it all. I mean, that's something that happens to very few, and we were fortunate to get that. So we'll always look back and remember that for sure.
Though most players have moved on since winning their national championship, the rings on their fingers are the one thing that unites them. For Ignite News, I'm Diego Flamini.
Thanks, Diego. Heading across the pond, the UEFA Champions League kicked off match day 4 with a rager between England's number 2 Chelsea FC and two-time Ukrainian champions Shakhtar Donetsk. Fernando Torres opened the scoring in the 6th minute, but Shakhtar would not be beaten so easily, leveling in the 8th. 20-year-old Oscar reclaimed the lead for the Blues with an amazing strike from 45 yards out just before the half. An early strike by Shakhtar just after the break sent last year's champions scrambling to hold on, but sub Victor Moses gave Chelsea the boost they needed with a header at the final whistle. In the end, the Blues won the home game 3-2. Elsewhere, Barcelona are still on top in their group despite a surprise 2-1 loss to Celtic, and United came back from a goal down to win 3-1 and secure their second round spot. That's it for me in sports. Let's pass it back to Greg and Courtney.
With Remembrance Day just around the corner, we asked Mohawk students why they are going to honor Canada's veterans.
Well, it's history, right? So those people gave the ultimate sacrifice so we could still be here, do what we do, so you gotta pay your respect.
It's just important to me because I had family that was in the Second World War, so it's important for me to kind of remember them on this day.
Support for soldiers is the most important thing we can possibly do. While we may not necessarily support the wars they fight, we have to support them when they get home. And as a continent, our treatment of soldiers is somewhat lacking.
I always give it a lot of thought at that time, and this year I was fortunate enough to go and visit Pearl Harbor and really see what happened, and so it really has a lot of meaning for me.
I feel it's important because they sacrificed a lot for our country. Like, they had a big role in how we live our lives today. Without them, we wouldn't have the freedom that we have.
Even though I'm an immigrant and I came from another country when I was like 4 years old, it still means something to me because without that, we wouldn't be here. It's still Canada's freedom. So even for people outside the country, it still means a lot to them. So I thank all the veterans. I thank all those people that literally sacrificed their lives for not just Canadians, but people like me.
Old Spice, Axe, Secret, and Dove, those may be your typical deodorant brands, but it looks like there's a new kid on the block. Dio Perfume Candy is a rose-flavored product that makes you smell like roses. On top of that, the deodorant is actually safe to eat. Dio Perfume Candy is also already sold in Spain, Germany, China, Korea, and Armenia. It's expected to hit North American shelves in the near future.
That's all your news for Thursday, November 8th. I'm Greg Rosser.
And I'm Courtney MacDonald. For more news coverage, check out our website, ignitenews.ca. Thanks for watching, Mohawk.